I should be honestly working on a paper, but this was more important. Hey everybody, my name is Erin Gray, and welcome to the first RVB vlog? Is this a vlog? We really don't know. Today I really wanted to talk about Red vs. Blue Zero and my expectations for the show, what I was hoping for, and hopefully what doesn't happen. So we're going to flash back a little bit to post season 17, right after season 17 came out, and what I was expecting for season 18 to be. So if you remember from the ending of season 17, we have the gang all back together, Wash is recovering from his neck injury, and we have them basically saying they want to, well, at least Donut wants to take a vacation. We don't really know if he follows through with that because the episode ends with Lopez coming back and Sarge saying how he wished he had understood Spanish. I wish Locust had showed up and was like, I speak Spanish, and then boom, black cut to whatever happens next. That would have been ideal. What the fuck is this? That's what should have happened, because then it would have set up for Locust becoming more in with the Reds and Blues, but that didn't happen, so we're just gonna ignore it. I would have wanted from season 17, I would have wanted somewhat of a kind of season 9 and season 10 style where you're flashing back and forth from the past and the present. The present being the Reds and Blues and Locust going on this adventure, whatever it may be, as referred to in season 16, where we get this message from him and then Griff crashes the plane because he didn't want anyone to hear the message from Locust because it was probably another top secret mission. That's what I would have wanted, and then we would have been flashing back to Locust around Merc Trio era, roughly, just to see what happened between him, Felix, and Cyrus, and also see where Cyrus ended up. Like, did he just end up quitting entirely? Or did he get killed? Did something happen to him? Because, like, that's a big question a lot of us fans have, or at least from my perspective, is, like, what happened to Cyrus? And I would also like to see a little bit more of Locust and Felix's relationship, and also the relationship of all three combined. Locust should have gotten a redemption arc in season 18. Now, granted, we don't know what Torian's doing with season 18. Locust might be involved. We have no clue. If you haven't been keeping up with what's going on with season 18 of Red vs. Blue, it's under completely new hands of Torian and I believe Fiona, who are members of Rooster Teeth. I personally don't know who they are. Apparently Fiona's like really, really cool and really hip. Torian seems like a really chill guy, like he's really invested with what he's doing, but there's some issues I have. The one issue is that Torian and Fiona have admitted on a RT podcast released during RTX at Home that he hasn't really seen all of Red vs. Blue. He's only seen a couple episodes to a season, I'm assuming for reference for 18. So that I have an issue with. If you're going to be working on a franchise that's been so involved for so long with a big fan base and a lot of different lore elements, you should kind of know the IP. Just a little bit. So the whole plot of season 18 is that we have this new team called Shatter Squad, and they actually seemed pretty cool. I mean, we have the man who looks like Borger, which he's probably going to be my favorite, probably. Don't know yet, but I do like his color combination. Then we have these other characters from Shatter Squad that I'm not really too familiar with. They all have different variety of armor color, which I kind of think is cool because they're actually delving into more of customization and armor that you can do in Halo. You have these syndicates working for this Agent Zero, which poses a really interesting idea. Is this going to be another temple thing because they want like the great power, the ultimate power? It makes me wonder, what are they going to be doing with that? But Wash and Carolina are back. Carolina has a cast over her armor, which I think is hilarious. Like, she totally would. Wash is hurt again, and just let the boy rest. Let him retire with his 20,000 cats. Just give me that. Just give me that. So now I'm going to go into what I'm hoping for after knowing what is kind of coming from Red vs. Blue Season 18. So what I'm hoping for is that we have some mention of the Reds and Blues, because, like, you know, we've been with those homeboys for 17 seasons now. We kind of need to know where they at. Where are they at, though? Just make it look exciting. Maybe like a lead into season 19, whatever that'll be, of them just chilling. Or like after season 18 and season 19 picks up with like, oh, what were they doing during all this, and that type of thing. Even better if they just show up, have a cameo or two. Cool with that as well. Another thing I'm hoping for is that they bring back the chorus temples, because there is kind of an interesting lore about them, like how they exist, why they exist, the tech that goes behind them. I think it would be kind of an interesting tie back, but granted that Torian hasn't really seen many of the seasons, and Fiona's seen nothing. Another thing that I'm hoping for, but maybe not, would be recurring running gags and gimmicks from the prior 17 seasons, like, you ever wonder why we're here? Even, like, just the running jokes. Like, a couple of the running jokes. Like, they call, I forget which one's the pink one in Shatter Squad, but, like, calling her armor lightish red and not pink. Like, can we, please, Torian, I'm begging you. And the last thing that I am hoping for is some good spicy Trocadero music. Trocadero has been, I believe, with Red vs. Blue since season 1. Granted, yes, he does need a break. I think they all need a break. However, they could just put in the little guitar riff. Put it in. It makes it Red vs. Blue. Why not do that? It's called recycled music. We do it all the time. Unfortunately, my hoping for list is very short, while my fearing list is very long. This is also a combination of other things from the Discord server of Facebook, shout out, where we kind of talked about it as things kept coming out. But some of these come from that list that I also am fearing as well, but didn't realize it until someone put the idea in my head. The biggest fear I have that's been kind of mentioned already, if you saw the premiere of the first episode, is retconning Wash's injury, because they kind of just like, oh, he's fine. He just knows the precise time a microwave's gonna go off. Like, no repercussions whatsoever from his injury. And you can't just retcon something like that. When you're retconning an injury of a character, regardless if they're a major character or a minor character, you're basically telling the readers, like, oh, no matter what happens to this character, they're gonna turn out fine. What I'm worried about, because they already set the stage for Wash's injury doing nothing to him, like, he's totally fine physically, totally fine mentally, nothing is wrong, he's just plain old normal Wash. It just, like, it makes me not fearful of anything that ever happens to him, even though they could pull a whole switcheroo and be like, ah ha ha, something, he's gonna die, and, oh god. I hope, with what they've said so far, that he's fine, that they still have, like, some caveat to it, that he isn't all fine, like something is still wrong, but like it's very minor, like it only happens on occasion, like, oh, on every Tuesday that rains in the morning, Wash just completely forgets who he is and everything around him. Like, if they made it something like that, there's still repercussion, there's still something that happened, and you're not entirely retconning the injury itself. Another major concern that I have, at least, is that it's not going to feel like Red vs. Blue. It's just going to feel like a side story, another thing from season 14, where it's like, oh, it's here, it's part of the lore, but it's not Red vs. Blue. Like, I don't get a sense of, like, the humor and the charm from it, and, like, there's just a bunch of dumb soldiers who just so happen to get lucky. And, of course, like, all the deeper lore behind it, but you still have those comedic moments. Or even when North and York are talking about the Alpha in season 10, and Wash is just sitting in the background eating with his helmet on. Like, you still have those comedic elements, and I'm worried that they're not gonna keep that. And it's not going to feel like Red vs. Blue. And also, like, the other thing is, like, it's not going to feel like Red vs. Blue because you don't have the Reds and Blues. Another thing is that I don't like rap. Like, the music. Personal preference. Everyone has their own preference. I just personally don't like it. It's not my style. It's not what I get down to. It's not my thing. The only thing from rap I like is Eminem, and that was a forced like in high school when I was trying to impress a guy. Yeah, that's a long story I'll tell later. So if you're into rap, cool, but for me, I'm worried that the entire soundtrack is going to be rap, hip-hop, which I'm not into. Like, there was some orchestral scoring in episode 1, but I'm worried that it's going to be predominantly mostly rap, hip-hop beats and not guitar scores, because that's what we're used to, and that's what makes it Red versus Blue. A couple of other concerns I have is that there's gonna be death of longtime characters, so like Wash, Carolina, Tucker, Locust, anyone from the Reds and Blues really. I at this point I could really care less if anyone from Shower Squad or the Zero Syndicates die. I don't really care about them yet, so I can't say like if that death is meaningful yet, but if any of the other OG cast dies, then I will be big sad. This also goes along with the fact if Caboose gets a really cheap write-off. If you haven't been aware, Joel has been let go from the company itself, so it is led to assume that he's not going to be voicing any more of Caboose's lines. So we can easily assume that Caboose's character is going to be written off in some way, shape, or form. But there is a difference between doing a good write-off and a cheap write-off. A good write-off could be, oh, Caboose is just going off and doing his own thing. He's returned to his favorite school, or he went to Harvard, which is his second favorite school. And then the cheap write-off could be like, oh, he died. Like, with no meaningful death whatsoever. It's like in Star Wars Episode 8, where they killed off Admiral Akbar because he just got exploded out of the hangar bay, and they didn't, like, that was like a really cheap write-off for his character, in my opinion at least. Like, they could have done something more meaningful where he was piloting the ship itself and did the whole holdo maneuver, and then like he died being a war hero. That would have been much more meaningful than him getting the cheap write-off that he actually got. So that's what I'm worried about Caboose in particular. I know Lopez also risks the chance of getting a cheap write-off, but Caboose is my baby. I love Caboose. Caboose is amazing. So I'm more worried about his, because his is more central to the cast. And then finally, my major concern is that we're going to see a lot of retconning and character development, specifically between Wash and Carolina, because those are the confirmed characters that we have back in this season. So if you remember back from season 16, season 17, if you watch those seasons, I highly recommend you do, because I personally liked them. Carolina was feeling bad for Wash's injury, so she never told him about it. And then later in season 17, it's confirmed that Wash didn't feel bad. Like, he was like, hey, it's okay. It's fine. It's okay. Like, I understand why you did that. You wanted to protect me, even though, like, I don't need protection because I'm an adult. And we both went through the same things. Like, I'm worried they're going to retcon her decision, and that throughout RVB0, she's going to be like, oh, man, like, I wish he didn't get hurt. I could have prevented that. I could have stopped it. Because that we've already been through that with Carolina. We don't need to go through it again with her. Another thing that also ties into that, I'm worried that because of the situation that we see beginning to develop in episode 1, that Carolina is not going to reach out to the Reds and Blues because they're in retirement, even though, like, we know that the Reds and Blues would drop a hat to go help her. And I'm really worried that they're just going to, like, say, like, oh, nope, she's not going to do that. She's not going to reach out to the people she proclaims as her best friends. And then the other major concern of character development is between Wash and Donut's friendship. They spend all of season 17 like developing their friendship. Like, Wash went from shooting Donut to now being his advocate. I think it's fantastic. And I'm really worried that they're just gonna like pretend it's null and void. And given the fact that Torian and Fiona haven't really seen a whole lot of the original Red vs. Blue, makes me really concerned. So my overall final thoughts about Red vs. Blue Zero is that I'm excited, but I'm very worried. Like, I'm still going to go into it with an open mind. I'm still going to be like, okay, all right, let me see how they're presenting it to me. Let me take it all in and then make my own decision. Like, I'm still going to give them a chance. I'm still going to give the season, the characters, everything a chance. I'm not going to automatically veto it and say it doesn't exist because it's not with the Reds and Blues, even though I'm kind of salty they're not in this season. But I will say that if they kill any of my babies, which is basically everything but the new characters, I will quit the fandom. Not actually, I love this fandom way too much. But I will quit on this season. I will not rewatch it probably. So anyway, thanks guys for watching this video. It's my first time doing this type of editing of me talking about Red versus Blue. This might become a series probably when RVB 0 drops. I'll probably do like a recap of each episode and my actual thoughts of the episodes. So keep on the lookout for that. Down below is a link to my link tree where you can find links to all my other important things like my other YouTube channels, my Discord, and of course my Twitch, and all my social media profiles. So be sure to give a like, give a follow, subscribe, whatever you can do. And I will see you guys in the next video. I don't have an outro signature.